Hello everyone, welcome to the Jenkins Infrastructure weekly team meeting. Today we are the 4th March 2025. Around the virtual table we have myself, Damien Duportal, Jeredy, Mark Waits, Stéphane Merle. Everyone has access to the notes. Yes, I posted the link. I wasn't sure. Okay, let's get started with announcement. So last week it looks like that there has been a bit of hiccups during the release process of the Jenkins version 2.499, but it was a spotless issue that has been fixed quickly, if I understand correctly. So thanks, Stefan, for monitoring that. Looks like it was released with no problem after the fix on the main branch. So I don't have anything else to say. Did you had any other issues, folks? Because I was out, so.
Not that I recall. There was an issue. The issue is fixed. I don't remember anything that we needed to make
Mhm.
permanent changes on anything to improve it.
Okay. Um, I just have a question about this DAO, Mark. I'm wondering why a spotless check failed the release but wasn't able to fail the pull request that was merged on the main branch.
And I did not investigate,
Okay,
so I would have to look. It's a good. That's a
if
very good question.
if it
Why
happens
did why
again
did
tomorrow,
CI did
next
not
week,
defend
but yeah,
us?
yeah. I mean, it could have been a test complex issue, but that one formatting or linting issue makes me wonder, was there something merged quickly, a bit too quickly, à la Damien?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay,
I and
it might be
I
human.
confess I haven't looked at the I yeah
Okay.
I did not attempt to diagnose it.
The reason I'm saying that is because if it happens again, that means we will have to start adding, let's say, safety nets. But right now, if everyone is okay, we don't need to investigate more than that. Just be aware.
Okay.
This week, today, we don't have a weekly release. That should happen tomorrow as part of the announced security advisory that will cover both weekly and LTS lines. So no release today. Today is a happy day. On the announcement area, most notable things since last meeting is that yesterday there has been a GitHub outage that made the rate limits being triggered even with a few requests. So it looks like it caused some mayhem on CI Jenkins IO because of course our build were trying to be built. They received events on GitHub, and then when they were trying to watch GitHub API, they received errors, 409 errors. So after a few hours, it was fixed, and everything seems to have been back in normal on CI Jenkins IO. With the help of Stefan, we checked earlier that it wasn't someone who change a job configuration and trigger. We saw that the plugins directory, which is usually the main cause of rate limit on CIGO, hasn't been scanned by a human since 21 July last year. So that wasn't the culprit. And then we checked GitHub status that show, hey, we had a rate limit issue. Ah, so nothing else for us except mentioning this. Any question on the release announcements, or do you have other announcements? Okay, so let's have a quick look at the calendar. So tomorrow we will have a weekly release and an LTS release. Kristen is release lead tomorrow for the security part, if I understand correctly. Cool.
Yes.
Everything should start at noon p.m. UTC, 1 p.m. Noon 30 UTC, 1:30 for us. We checked with Stefan. I will handle the beginning, so warming up the Windows packaging agent, checking that the Docker image tag is created if needed. Stefan will take the next steps, updating our Docker images. And once everything is finished, we will update the two last controllers. CI Jenkins IO will be updated as part of the security advisory as usual by the security team. We don't have anything to make except opening a status issue. I'm taking care of this one, Stefan, because you already have a lot of teeny tasks to finish related to all the work you did last week without me. Um, just let me write this down. And at the end of the day tomorrow, we should be able to finally update trusted and cert CI as the last element. We will have a weekly release next Tuesday as usual, 2.501. And that's all for the upcoming releases. Are there something else on that area?
Oh, so LTS baseline selection happens March 19th for the next LTS baseline.
Next main line happens 19?
Selected March 19. Let me double check on the calendar to be sure that I'm giving it the right date. Yes, March 19. And we may choose to retire an older line from the Jenkins plugin BOM earlier than that, um, just as a matter of special circumstances around uh, this particular BOM, this particular set of releases.
Okay. Will it happen before the 11 or after?
Don't know. I've got to discuss it with the bomb team. So
Okay,
sorry, side mention that shouldn't even be in the notes. Excuse
okay,
my
no problem.
mentioning it.
No worries. And we have credential expiring this Friday, Netlify and NPM token. We have checked earlier today that Stefan has access to Netlify, so he can take care of this one. Stefan, do you want to take care of the NPM one, or should I? I would prefer you, so you can also try the access to the NPM account, if
Yeah,
it's
that's
okay
fine.
for you. Cool. I can relieve some burden by creating the two issues for you, if it helps.
As you want.
Okay, so I'm gonna create the issue and you will perform the task. Is that okay?
Yes, I may need you for the NPM. I think I don't have access.
Okay. We don't have major event upcoming, so for me that's all for the upcoming calendar. Is there anything else on the calendar that we should mention?
I thought that there was an event, Mark, no? With Alisa and Basil? It's not
Oh, there is this
coming.
week. Yes, I'm not sure. We need to
Oh,
note it here. Yeah, so I'll be out of office on Friday attending Southern California Linux Expo. But
oh, so finally it will take place.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I
Southern
wasn't sure
California.
due to the fire problems.
Right, right. Good question. And as far as we can tell, it's happening. They've they've taken my slides. At least they told me where to put my slides for the 5-minute talk I'm giving, and so we're planning to be there.
Cool.
And I'll be out of the office Friday.
Friday. Okay, don't forget to cancel our 101 then.
Yes, I think that's a good question. I'll have to check that. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, thanks. Good point, Stefan. Anything else on the calendar? Okay, cloud budgets. Azure CDF account is doing good. We have consumed 462 dollars. The forecast is at 4K, which is absolutely correct. Nothing specific. We haven't received the invoice yet for February. That should be around 4.1. So good. That's a short month. So that maps to the consumption. Nothing else to say. On the Azure sponsorship credits. So first, we have consumed 487. We have a forecast at 3.8, showing that we clearly have stopped using it with CI Jenkins IO. We still have resources of CI Jenkins IO to be cleaned up. That should be at least 30% of this. It's between 1 to 2K that we won't have to pay in the future. We have received a few amount of credits on the account, though, because last week we were still at 8K leftover before end of May, and now we have 47K.
Yes. Okay, so they gave us a new donation. All
Thank
right.
you, Mark.
And
Yes.
did they extend the donation expiration date, or do we don't not know
For
that?
now, no, it's still written 31 May 2025. I checked it
Okay.
specifically, so I'm not sure because last time we had to ask, but they were automatically extended, so I'm not sure. Uh, Best to ask them. That mean yeah, we could
Well, so this is perfect.
Mhm.
I will express my deep thanks to Michelle Martineau and
Mhm.
ask her in the same step, if thank Michelle and then ask if they can extend the end date.
Yep. At least 6 months, that should be good for us because we have resources on the Azure CDF things that we could migrate to sponsorship, so we consume even less on CDF if needed. Or we can keep the credits for end of year because when we will run out of credits in Amazon, we might want to go back to
Right,
Microsoft Azure. So
right.
clearly we will need these credits at the moment in time. But right now, the sponsorship credit is not in danger, not at all, which means we don't have until May to worry about Azure credits. That's good. These are good news, even though we still should try to clean up this so we don't waste the credits.
And Damien, does it then look like that Microsoft has donated 40,000? Is that the difference from last time?
Yes, I think it's 40,000. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. So that's really wonderful. Thanks. That is great news. Thank you.
Any question about Azure? Cool. Digital Ocean, good thing. We are consuming credits. Sorry, I forgot to update this one. We still have 14.5K credits available until end of year, and we consume around 230, less than 250 per now per month, which means Digital Ocean is the next target for moving the last machines we have on AWS CloudBees. On AWS CloudBees, I had an Okta issue. I need to reconnect my account. Stefan checked last week. We don't consume more. No bad surprises as far as I remember. I haven't received an alert, so that means we are below the 600 per month. On the sponsored account, a big peak in usage as expected. We consume 8.5K in February. So now we have 51K credits left. And on this 51, we have started to consume 2.2, which is a forecast at 13.5. So if we compare to Azure, the cost is more or less the same on both clouds for operating CI Jenkins. These credits are valid until it's until no, I've 2020. Okay, we have a lot of time. Yes, Mark?
So on that 2.2K, we ran 12 attempts to release bomb over the weekend. So we were definitely hot in over the weekend on expenses, right?
Yep.
That was we hope to not be that hot in the future, but we were definitely hot.
Okay. Makes sense. That means Carpenter is helping because it's using spot instances. So that decrease that keep a steady cost with an increased rate of builds. That's the
Yeah.
consequence.
Yeah, my worry is Carpenter also hindering by causing us to exhaust CPU or exhaust something. But yes, that's definitely just be aware we spent extra over the weekend. Bruno and I were trying to get a bomb release out.
Yes. All the issues I've looked so far are Artifactory saying HTTP 500.
Oh,
So all the
interesting.
builds are timing out. We see a bit of exhaustion in the machines that led to 5 to 10 minutes additional build time on the 1 hour 40 minutes. So for me, it's close to nothing. But yeah, most of the time the problem is here. I will discuss the BOM part later. On the
Great.
budget,
All right.
but thanks for noting that. We have increased the rate while keeping a steady cost, which is still
Great.
a good news. Really
Okay.
good news. We have 51 credits, which mean at with that rate, if we consume, yeah, we have 4 to 5 months before having to renew or move. So which mean we have to target, we are March, April, May. So yeah, we will have to decide in June. Decide and act in June.
I
The,
updated the CloudBees account.
cool. Thanks, Stefan. So June will be the month in which we will either need new credits in emergency. So Mark, if the timeline is okay, we should be able to ask in May for AWS. Will the timeline will be okay if we start asking them new credits or
Yeah,
extend?
I may actually start in April
Cool.
because I may even start now just because no, now that we see the beginnings of the rate, it's looking like at least the Azure rate, and therefore we can predict we're going to run out of money on that account in 5 months and at the 10K a month that we were usually spending on Azure. So are they willing to extend it? If not, then we have to start planning our transition back. And
Mhm.
that's not, yeah,
We have everything to finish the year. Worst
great.
case, no one give us additional credits. We can finish the year with what we have right now, given the extension, at the condition of Azure extending the expiration of credits to end of year. But the amounts are okay for 2025. Okay, that's all for the cloud budget. Anything else? I didn't have time to check the Artifactory consumption, but I saw a message from our Artifactory peers. Storage has increased again, but not the bandwidth.
What when
I
you
haven't checked.
where
Sorry.
did you see a message that said storage has
In Slack,
increased?
in the in Slack with the channel we have with Artifactory people.
Okay.
It was a few
Increase
days
in
ago.
storage. Interesting. Okay, thanks. Yeah, so it just arrived.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
So
n that means for one of the tasks for the upcoming milestone will be checking what Darren was doing. I have the script, I read the message, so checking what is the cause of that increased storage and see what we can do if we continue the action or change actions.
right. Yeah, so he was Darren's been out, but he said that his tasks that did the cleaning of incrementals had been running, but he certainly hasn't checked them, I would expect, to see if
Mhm.
they're actually performing the action.
Yep, the goal is to identify what repository caused the storage increase in last week.
Great. And I think the other was that next target is to remove JCenter cache, and that needed conversation with Daniel Beck.
Yep,
Great.
absolutely.
Okay.
So that's all for the cloud budget and metrics. Any question? Something to add, to clarify? Nope, okay. So on the closed issue, on the subcategory support issue, we had the rate limit error. Thanks, Mark, for taking care of opening an issue and closing it as duplicate of JS's. So Stefan commented and closed it was not an infra issue, but a GitHub issue. The problem is gone. Thanks for taking care of that person who forgot their login. Looks like it's solved as well. Thanks, Stefan, for working on Packer image first. We started to have 2 weeks ago build failure on Windows 2019 for Amazon. The system named Fast Launch is a technique we use. It's a feature in Amazon EC2 which snapshot pre-provision Windows image because the Windows boot start sequence is doing many things. So EC2 keeps starting machines and making snapshots. As such, the virtual machine start time for Windows goes from around 10 minutes to less than 1 minute. That's why the Windows VM agent are so fast in CI Jenkins IO. And that system fast launch is an option to be enabled during the Packer image build. But suddenly, we don't know why, the base image that we used was suddenly missing the tools required to enable that feature. So Stefan was able to diagnose that problem that was really hard to observe because not a lot of log from the Windows provisioning, and he was able to identify we needed a new base image. So thanks, Stefan. Looks like a new release of Packer image has been released with that feature. So now we can go back on fixing issue on Windows if needed. But yeah, clearly that was a huge work. Thanks. We also had an update of the root certificate used to sign the update center. So thanks, Stefan, again. So we confirm that that task that happen once a year need as a prerequisite on me or Daniel, or Olivier, or Oleg, or Kosuke, who are the 5 persons with access to the root authority. They need to generate a certificate. The documentation was clear. I just copy and pasted the instruction last year and everything went fine. And Stefan was able to update first on crawler and then update center and confirm it works. So everything is doing good and we will. Stefan, can you just confirm you updated the calendar for next year? I guess
Yes,
so.
I did, and
Just
I did two events because we cannot have more than 4 weeks of ahead of notification. So I put one at the end date with 4 weeks notification, and another one with 8 weeks before then
cool,
to have more time
cool,
because
thanks.
those jobs are failing 1 month before the real date of end of life of the
Yep, good.
certificate.
I
Sorry.
forgot about this. Yep. So nothing else to add on these issues, Stefan?
Except that I screw up and override the wrong one first, but
No, you
no.
learned a lesson.
Yes,
That's different.
yes, I learned.
But everything went fine. No user were harmed in the process. So
No, and
that's
we
okay.
were able to redo everything. So in fact, that's good. Yes.
We had 3 issues closed as not planned. So thanks, Mark, for updating us on the direction related to the Chinese Jenkins IO translation for the website. And the 2 other were usual user related issue. Now on the work in progress, we have these issues that were started and worked on in the past milestone. So in the support area, we had that issue opened by Mark and worked by Stefan, and I saw pull request by Hervé. I'm not sure if everyone is synced, but just be aware that we have different areas. So the takeaway is, since we moved to AWS, the CI Jenkins IO build of the Docker SSH agent is failing. One of the tests is failing, the last one. That's a test that spin up a dummy container, a dummy agent, and tries to do a kind of netcat communication between both. And that one seems to be stuck when run by CI Jenkins IO. Stefan already diagnosed that using a static machine with the same base image does not allow to reproduce the issue. So the issue happens when the build is run by CI Jenkins IO. Is it a memory issue? Is it a Docker registry configuration set up by CI Jenkins IO in its cloud? I don't know. But there is something in the way CI Jenkins IO spin up agent and set them up that make the build fail. Um, I have a gut feeling that it's around the Docker transparent mirror, because as far as I remember, that test pull a few different images. Yes, survey?
Note that I saw also unexpected end of file error in some of my logs
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the Docker build, and that I didn't even see before. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not on
Yep.
every build. I don't know why
Can
it's there. I
did,
tried
did you
to add to archive the Docker Compose file to see if there was an issue in the conversion of the Docker bag to Docker Compose for the Windows image build, but yeah.
The, the EOF error is when the Docker engine extract the layers, the tar downloaded to the disk. That's what the error means with Docker. So the question is it related to BuildX or any technology? But I don't think BuildX is used on the Windows machine, at least not on the server side. We had the EOF error when the Docker registry was down, though. The problem is the EOF would happen during the download phase. Each error that you had and we saw is not during the download, but during the extraction phase, which led me to think that could be another source of problem. The hard drive of the Windows VMs might not be good enough in performances, or I don't know, inodes, or there is something on the hard drive that creates a problem here when Docker tried to move the layer from memory to disk. and that could also be a source of the EOF. So we need to check.
Thanks for the explanation.
Thanks for the analysis, the three of you. We need to understand on short-term, Mark, since we have a few pull requests, I don't see any problem on temporarily disabling the test and see if it helps to at least add the pull request waiting for updates and release a new image version, because the base OS, at least on the Linux part, had been updated. So I would rather, especially with the security advisory tomorrow, I would rather make the image clean because it's not a problem on the deployment. The CD process on Trusted is still working for SSH agent.
I can take care of disabling the stack test.
Cool. Thanks, Ray. That will help a lot. And so we could, on the maintainer side, manage the updates, release a new image, and then reopen the test and work on the pull request, re-adding the test.
Yeah, well, and you don't need to worry about adjusting that pull request. You're talking about the Git parameter plugin, right, Damien?
So,
Yeah.
sorry, can you repeat? I had a sound issue.
So you're talking about the Git parameter plugin, the test we're using to check it.
Oh, no. Docker
but-
SSH agent.
Oh, I see. Okay, got it. Okay,
Still on this issue.
I see. Thank you. My mistake. Okay, I was lost on the topic. Thanks.
Thanks, folks. So that means, Hervé, we let you open the pull request. Stefan, you can release that one from your brain to focus on other if it's okay for you. Because most of the
done.
actions here will require a maintainer. The only thing we discussed earlier, Stefan, is that if you
SSH.
could, yes, write a paragraph on the runbook for CI Jenkins IO explaining how to manually connect to running agents as an admin, both Linux and Windows for SSH. Is that okay for you?
Yes.
Cool. Stefan, while you're there, can you give us an update on deploy Jenkins prototype on Netlify, please?
Yes, I try to start that issue. The aim is to have a new way of previewing the Jenkins prototype website version. I started to work on the pull request on the Jenkins file for as on the I forgot where, somewhere status I think. And in fact, I realized that it's not only the preview on pull request that they want, they don't even ask for it. They want a preview of the main branch. So as we discussed this morning, I will change the way it's behaving by having Netlify pulling the new version. We, Damien showed me that, in fact, I think it's Hervé, by the way, we did that, and we can set up kind of a webhook between Netlify and GitHub to have a kind of automatic deployment through a TOML file for Netlify within the repository. So I will switch the way I started the pull request by using that kind of process. And yes, I did already ask in the issue if they also want a peer preview.
Cool.
I think you posted in on the wrong issue. I think you posted this question on Scoop Bucket instead.
Oh, thank you, Hervé. Probably.
Thanks, Hervé.
Mhm.
Ask Diane if you can handle it. So that means, since given the nature of that website, it's under Jenkins CI GitHub organization. That means having everything building in Netlify makes sense. Less risk for us on Infra CI and no need to have Infra CI building this. Netlify can handle both the main website and all the others because we know it works for status. The reason again is because we don't host the principal websites. It's not under Jenkins Infra responsibility, so we make it on a managed service and not something we own. And yeah, because the risk is low and it's an ephemeral-like website. It's not like Stats Jenkins or Jenkins IO. So that's why we went that direction. Any question on this one? Hop, okay. Stefan, the other one, scoop bucket.
Let me think now that I just removed the comment I did on the wrong one. Scoop bucket, I haven't done much because I am not administrator on Jenkins Infra. I don't think I have the permission to do that, and I've never done a new repo. So I wanted to wait for Damien to be back to make sure not to put too much rights or
Mhm.
parameters, and so I didn't start it this one.
For because we need a GH app to have a token so
Yes.
that the delivery can happen.
I cannot create any GH app and token and anything. I don't
So
have the rights.
we just need to sync up, and we will most probably do it in pair, and that should be okay. Any
I
question
still
on this
think
one? Sorry.
I still think I should have the rights.
Yep. And so you need to find or write the issue and ask
I
the
remember.
permission on the mailing list.
I did already. I need to refine that.
If you can just add the issue then, Stefan, please, to the new
Yeah.
milestone, if you find it. And so we will be able to process because I don't remember. And we must probably have forgotten, but yes, I agree, it should be okay. And the last one, someone asked for a stable permalink to the latest stable version. I thought we had one. It's technically possible now that we have moved the storage, the Apache storage under NFS, because NFS supports symlinks and we have symlinks working on the update center. The question is the link existing on the website update center generation? Is this a new feature that we need to ask for help to Daniel or Adrien? Or I don't know. We need to investigate a bit. I don't remember. Technically, it should be okay now. It wasn't the case before. So need to check the history here. I saw you answered Mark and Tim and Stefan. I
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so the user said that they had been using this link for a long time and it stopped working in the recent past, but I'm not aware of any change we made that would have caused it to stop working. And I was not aware of it being published anywhere, and I found no place where we documented that as a stable, as a known stable location to request the latest LTS
Mhm.
WAR file always. So for me,
I
it was I've never seen documentation of it. I had noted in the past to myself it wasn't available,
mhm.
but yeah.
I have a wild guess that it could have been a symlink on the Apache server on PKG virtual machine. So that was
Mm,
working as like no HT access redirection rule. So it folded back to serving files. And the file was symlink here. But the symlink was created manually either by Puppet or you or an admin, because
mm,
that machine was manually managed for years.
okay.
And with the change to the new update center system, since there are no HT access redirection rule of that kind on Apache, it falls back to the mirror bit file system, which doesn't have any symlink or stable file. So there could be different solutions. If it's easy, we could add it on the HT access, but require update center's website generation script change. That's something we can handle. Or we could make sure that we have a duplication of files for the war. So we duplicate the file, it's duplicated in all mirrors, and it's served by mirror bits. Because the thing is that that one should be handled by Apache.
Hmm.
I believe that's my belief because it should be a redirection to the real version URL, which is then served by mirror. So we don't pay for the bandwidth of the latest downloads because that one will be a lot.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it should be a redirection, a temporary redirection, because it will change every 4 weeks or 6 weeks.
Right. I would like it if we had a temporary, if we had a redirection, that would be great. I didn't want to commit to doing that redirection, and as far as I know, we'd never documented. So I like the idea of the redirection very much.
Might be a an unforeseen minor Consequence of the new UC.
Mhm.
So yep, that need a bit more work. It makes sense, and it's not the higher priority. It's the same level of priority as prototype and scope buckets. But if no one object, we keep it on a milestone and we'll try to work on it. Is that okay?
Mhm.
On the other issues around keeping the platform up to date, Stefan opened an issue about possible enhancement for Packer image. So Stefan worked on it, continue to work on it. It's a set of internal changes on our pipelines. The goal is to reduce the feedback loop on our pull request on Packer image so we can deliver it more efficiently because the rate of changes is really high on this one. I don't think there are blockers, Stefan, on this one. That's a day-to-day task for you.
Yeah.
You had all of the information you needed from me earlier today on this one.
Mhm.
Cool.
Mhm.
So we continue working on it. Nice.
That's my side task.
Yes. Jay, can you give us a quick update on pipeline library, on the work you did on the update CLI pipeline library?
Yeah, so this issue is being split into two parts. So the first one involves allowing the user to execute a custom version of update CLI. So work being done on that. It's currently on the second iteration of like the second iteration of allowing a user to download and install the binaries if the user wants to use a custom step. So the unit test for that has also been written, and yeah, so execution on the controller will begin shortly this week.
Cool. Unit tests are good. Integration test for the upcoming week. Yeah, I understand you have been pretty busy with all the meetings and presentations, so makes sense. Thanks for the updates. Do you have blockers or things are just work in progress on your area, Jay?
No, it's just work in progress. No
Cool,
blockers as of.
cool, thanks. Any question on support task or keep platform up to date tasks? Nope. Okay, so on the two other topics, we have reduce artifactory storage and bandwidth use. So as we said, Darren did a lot of work. Darren scripts on the incremental day. Script is running regularly. Let's watch it and its effects. So he did a manual first deletion, which was really big. And now if we don't want having to do the same every 3 years, Darren created a script that runs once a day, I think, or once a week, regularly, to clean up the tiny set of incremental that are more than 1 year olds. So we will keep the usage sustainable over time. I will wait for Darren to go back before industrializing his script into one of our controllers. But right now we are just watching the effect and he shared all the required knowledge. And on the whole topic, we still have increasing storage usage. Need to find the cause. Most probably the Atlassian mirror. I hope it's not, but yeah. Sounds like more and more we will need to really restrict the amount of artifact that we are publishing over these mirrors. Needs to prepare gcenter cache cleanup. We need to be sure with other former admins or current admins that gcenter still have artifact that we need to back up or not. Darren built a whole system for backupping a repository with the gfrog command line to an S3 bucket. So that will be worth backupping the whole gcenter and then eventually continuing on the rest of the Artifactory system as a backup. So if she just in case. And so that means if we delete it and see we have a problem, we could retrieve and pick the artifact from the backup. And an S3 bucket is close to nothing. However, it could be interesting given the no. S3 is good. I was thinking maybe in Azure, but we don't know if Microsoft will extend the credits, so better stay safe where we have a lot of credit for storing data. Any question on Artifactory usage? Oh, okay. We have one cleanup issue and one issue I would want to close. So thanks, Stefan, for reviewing the run book. For all the other team member, I think it's only Mark because Hervé, you don't have access. CI Jenkins IO SSH config must be changed. I wrote the run book before my holidays, so that tomorrow security release should be okay. I haven't seen any feedback from Daniel or the others. So I've merged, so they will have a run book because I assume they are busy. I will ping them on private channel now to be sure they update their SSH config. And I will be there tomorrow because most probably one of them will forget because I would. I would forget and we will be there to help them if needed. Thanks, Stefan, for all the cleanup pull requests. We need to think. If I see some that make sense to merge, I will send them. But there are some with lock-in, as you mentioned.
Yes, they
So
are all in
yep.
draft because of that, because there is egg and chicken problems, and we may have to split some
Mhm.
multiple ones.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I need to double check and we will merge them together. So we will supervise the whole cleanup. That
Yes,
should allow us to not consume, to not waste 1 to 2K credits per month on the Azure sponsorship.
yes.
About the delete account to account Jenkins IO, so someone very motivated will proposed try to implement a delete feature on account Jenkins IO. Thanks, Hervé, for managing the expectation here. The answer is no, we don't want to implement that feature, but I propose we keep the issue open, but outside the milestone like it was before, just to be sure that we won't forget it when we will work on the keycloak or any replacement for account Jenkins IO. Is that okay?
Yes.
Back to backlog. So I will try to make it a subtask of account.geo replacement because these new features on GitHub issue are so cool. So yep, you can have issues that are subtask of other issue and you can create epic. And that's really cool. That was what we're missing. Now on the triage part, we have two set of issues that we need to check quickly. First one are the ones scheduled for the upcoming milestone by Stefan. That makes sense. We just need to be sure that we're aware. First one, I've opened an issue about should we try to continue working on Windows Container Agent on AWS, or should we embrace Windows Virtual Machine Agent everywhere? In terms of costs, that change almost nothing. Yes, people will say yes. If you are lucky and you have a high quantity of container, yes, it looks like it's doing better. But the effort for us to have the same quality of service in terms of speed and operational model, observability, we don't have any metrics. We don't have anything to observe what is happening. The technology around container limits is absolutely different. The cost model and the time for the virtual machine in Kubernetes to spin up is absolutely insane. I mentioned the 10 minutes, while our virtual machine agent with fast launch are 1 minute. So my proposal is that we stop working on Windows Container Agent on Amazon, and we assume Windows VM on EC2, and we fix the last remaining problems. That doesn't mean we won't have the topic again if we have to move back to Azure. But right now, the effort and the operational model around Windows Container Agent as Jenkins agent is not worth the effort for the team because virtual machines are fine. There is nothing that we can do on Container Agent that we cannot do on VM agents. Most of the problem is because we were using different Windows lines. Nano server on one side, server core on the other. So we just need to identify the problems and fix them on the go. Any objection?
quite the opposite. Strong support. Let's simplify by not doing Windows container agents. I see nothing that motivates me to say, ooh, we should spend the effort on Windows container agents. Let's stay with virtual machines.
Cool.
That's
So that
funny.
means we
I was saying the opposite. I would love to see Damien brain working on that because he
go.
will go crazy and find crazy stuff. But okay.
Yes, Hervé?
It's the only inconvenient I see with that is we are not consuming, we are not one of the consumer of these agents, so we won't see obvious error. But yeah, I agree with you about the simplification.
Mm. Because ECS has a partial Windows support that won't fit our needs, even with the Windows ECS, the Jenkins ECS plugin. So yeah, right now the cost of the operational model for the value is worth nothing. So that means that issue will become cleanup of the Carpenter part. We know what should be done if we would have to continue working on this. And once we will go to Azure, we will have to reconsider the whole ACI thing again, because what we don't know is are Kubernetes windows on Azure having the same problem as what we had on Amazon? Is it an Amazon Kubernetes only and Microsoft are doing things, or is it because ACI was managed, so they have the size and the critical math to run a Windows container because they have the operational model, they know how to observe Windows, while we don't, because we are clearly way smaller than Azure, of course. And so that's why we could keep using ACI when we will go back. But that's not the problem here, and we don't have an equivalent system on Amazon, so let's roll. Is that okay?
Yeah, but we need to plan to clean up the Carpenter and then the
Yes, that's
thing.
part of the issue. Absolutely.
Great. Okay. So, and the cleanup there is just to remove unused things that,
Yes,
so
exactly.
because, great, thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Nothing costing us money. It's just a few Kubernetes custom resource definitions and one IAM role. That's all. But yeah, I agree, Stefan. Good point. Cleaning this up would avoid us scratching our heads in 3 months. Next one, I delayed that to this week for the BOM, seeing what will be the impact of the proposal I made for a custom cache. That means the process will be the following. First, updating so adding a persistent virtual, what's the name, PVC, persistent volume in CI Jenkins IO EKS, which will be backed by an S3 bucket, because we need something that doesn't cost for storage. And that must be read-write many, so it cannot be a disk. That could be an EFS storage if S3 is too slow. The goal is then add that PVC, even empty, to the pod template used only for the BOM. Then we update the BOM system. So if it finds a tar file in it, it will uncompress it on the home M2 repository. So that's the uncached part. And I will try to populate it manually once. So we should validate the positive impact on the BOM builds. It should decrease the time with we need to validate that the balance, hey, is reading the file, uncompressing the file, and running Maven faster helps to have faster builds and less pressure on ACP, or is it not worth the effort? And if it's validated, then we will need to build a new cache loader system. As a reminder, if we let the BOM build populating the cache, that's a security risk, and that will slow down the whole build process. So the goal is to have an asynchronous build caching once a day. We will have a pipeline of the BOM that say, hey, I'm gonna run all the elements and I will just run Maven dependency offline with the existing cache. And if it updates, then it will tar and update the cache one time. So no concurrency issue, and we separate the problems. Are there any questions on this one? I need to write down the plan here.
I may
Yes.
have a tuning of it. I'm
Yes.
not sure that dependency go offline is enough. At least in my personal experiments, I've had to do run the injected test. It's more expensive, but it does a better job of populating the cache.
Mhm.
So
Okay, makes sense.
but that's one where you and I can talk about it separately, Damien, as
Yep.
to if
Basil pointed that
oh, he did.
dependency
Okay, good.
offline for each cell should work
Oh,
if
okay.
the cache populator run the normal prep stage that generate the txt file with the list and builds parallels, but each step of parallel should be a dependency offline because it would already have downloaded the plugin being tested. So
I
it
see.
will download offline the dependency, which is different than what you, Bruno, and I did initially with the dependency only on the prep stage, which are the dependencies of the prep system itself,
I
but
see.
not the
Thank you.
plugin being tested.
Okay. And I did not check that technique. Thanks very much. Good. All right.
So my next step is to write down the plan on the issue and then start operating it. Need to write the plan and start the cache evaluation. So as a reminder, we had positive effect with the job cacher plugin, but as we underline with Basil, the job cacher doesn't deduplicate caching, which is catastrophic because our whole goal of ACP was to share the cache in a safe way. All of these plugins, the problem is that if we start having the job cacher, that means each plugin build could write random file on the controller or inject cache in an unmanaged way. And we have too much person who have the permission to manage Jenkins file. So job cacher or any kind, the CloudBees 1 or I thought a third, all of these have that double problem. No deduplication of cache and the danger of the safety port. Job cacher though duplicates everything because each build has an isolated silo. You can have that mode, that's the last step that team worked. But the cache requirement on the controller disk are insane. It's like we need 100 times more than the real sizing we need compared to the technique. So Basil mentioned that yeah, only the bomb build need that specific cache thing. So that's okay. So instability of artifact caching proxy on AWS, that's related to this one. So right now it's open. All the bomb instability cache are usually related to ACP. So we need to implement the new cache system one way or the other, and then reevaluate the stability of ACP on here. For the bomb build, the goal again is allowing you, the bomb maintainer, to release it without being slowed down by the timeouts or failure. Stefan, we have a new mirror in India, or almost, or a few.
New mirrors by
Three
the
new.
same company. And yes, I did prepare the pull request, which in fact is just changing the runbook. I haven't done it yet because it's not as code. It demands to execute a command within the MirrorBit pods, and I was not confident doing that alone and without you as a backup. And especially because there is a backup somewhere, and I don't know how to do it. It's not in the runbook, so I would like to be sure to be able to get the backup first, make sure it's the current one, and changed the mirrors, see if they are going online or not, and be able to roll back to the old backup if needed. So I was needing more information in the runbook.
And so we are planning to do the operation this Friday morning in Europe, so night on the US and middle of day on Asia.
Yes. And those three mirrors, the provider asked us to limit them for country only, so meaning India.
Oh, good point. So is it okay to have that much mirror if they are planning to mirror only to a country only? We did that in Russia because a lot of people were blocked if they were redirected to Russian mirrors.
India is huge.
In India, I can understand that country only is already a lot of bandwidth.
I think
Uh,
they just want to start with country only, and if the bandwidth is acceptable, we may be able to
mhm,
extend that to worldwide.
Makes
If I
sense.
understood correctly what the answer was to Mark comment.
I don't see any
Yes.
other option either, except if we start to hit mirror bits limit because we already have 13 mirrors. So we saw some error logs due to when we pass the threshold of 10 mirrors. These are minor errors, so these are warnings, no impact for the users. I haven't heard back about the mirror bit release because they keep delaying it. That problem should be solved. So we shouldn't have any problem adding 3 more mirrors, 16 instead of 13. However, I'm just raising the flag of if we start adding weird behavior of mirror bits due to too much mirrors to treat, then in that case, I propose we roll back and we say, okay, that's too much mirror and we will have to refuse. I don't see any reason, but we have to be aware of, yep, that will be a first world problem for us. But yeah, that's a good problem to have. Better phrasing. That's a good problem to have, too much mirror, but yeah, just be careful about this.
So yeah, and I think we could persuade that hosting provider to not be country specific based on their response. But I also don't object if they choose to be country specific. India, as you said, Damien, is a very big country with lots and lots of consumers
Mm.
and lots of Jenkins installations, right? They're
And it's close to the other second or biggest country on the world that also could generate a lot of additional requests. So yeah, I can understand why they want to start with country only, and that's okay.
right.
Infrastat, I need to update it, so that on the new milestone, need to check with Andrew if he's available now. Now he has a working AC. Um, about the JEP 499 CD releases, I need to check, but both of them are closable, I guess. But I need to double check. I didn't want to bother Stefan with that last week because everything was solved on short time, confirmed with Olivier Lamy before my holidays. So the issues were scheduled just to be checked here. I need to be sure where we are. The good news is that Docker backed off or changed their stance on the rate limit recently. So we shouldn't have any issue.
Well, but didn't they only slip their date till April 1, or have they also reduced how much they're going to reduce the rate limit?
Yes, both.
Oh, they did. Okay,
Yeah,
so it's not just change of date.
exactly.
Okay. Oh, that's a relief. Okay.
And one of the good thing on the change is that we might be able to have one of our user organization with the biggest account since we are sponsored to have the biggest rate limit available. But Olivier Lamy did a good point on disabling the Docker tests because when the CD process happened in the context of the plugins, that means the main branch built on CI Jenkins IO must be green in order to the CD process to validate. It's part of the prerequisite of the whole GitHub workflow action.
Mhm.
So there are no needs to run again on the release the big test harness part that say, hey, spin up a lot of containers and pull the image and do stuff. And as Olivier pointed out, yes, so he disabled that, so the release should have happened, and that problem, that was an edge case, in fact. So that's why I think the issue is closable, because it was an edge case that shouldn't happen. And finally, we have some cleanup on update Jenkins IO. I hope I will be able to resume this. We still need to deprovision things on the PKG VM. And start the mandatory TLS on the update center soon. Finally, I propose we delay the replace account tab with Keycloak at least from 1 week, if that's okay. Okay, on triage, we have a few new issues. Plugin bomb release builds on AWS CI fail much more frequently. I will add it to the milestone mark. I will
Thank you.
confirm that all of the builds are the same, are due to instability of ACP. or Artifactory through ACP. I just need to double check the build failure message, but the
Yeah,
few
see,
I checked were ACP issues.
which that is really surprising to me because they all seem to be timeouts in the test failure message. So, but
Oh, yes, but isn't an ACP timeout?
well, in this case, they were tests that were timing out,
Oh,
not download of artifacts. And we were seeing 10 and 12 tests that were failing at various places. So
okay.
I'll be
Okay, so yeah.
surprised if it's ACP, but your investigation is certainly worthwhile. That's you have
Okay.
access to things that I certainly don't. And
No, but that's a good point. So that means that one is not mandatorily waiting for the new cache system to happen
right,
because it could
as far as I
be
can tell,
agent resources.
right. Well, as far as I could tell, we were, and part of that was we chose to run those at times when ci.jenkins.io was otherwise idle, weekends, late hours, etc. And because of that, we thought the ACP issues were generally not appearing.
Okay. So thanks for the yeah. So looks like it's way more important than I initially thought. So we will have to look on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and for me, it's I'm going to talk with the plugin bomb team because this may be the right time for the plugin bomb. We need you to investigate certainly, but it may also be the right time for the plugin bomb to drop the 2.462 line because so many changes are arriving on 2.479 and newer. So
Okay.
that's independent of your investigation.
Okay. We
Or
have another
independent of
issue.
the
Yep.
investigation.
Okay. That's worth checking the metrics on our side because I
Right.
have a wild guess that it's EBS because
Okay.
honestly the Amazon disk performances are terrible. I don't know how people could use it without paying fortunes. But yeah. Anyway, we have a Windows virtual machine template agent character set issue. Looks like the character set is different between the container image based on nano server that we used to have on ACI and the current Windows Server Core machine. The problem was already visible on Azure. We can reproduce the issue on Trusted or Cert. So we need to find the character set definition, Stefan, for unpacker image for Windows provisioning and change it. Be careful because that means some other builds that are assuming a character sets that we have now will start breaking because due to
Uh,
that.
and and for me, this one is actually very low priority. We have, when we detect one of these, usually it's we want to fix the broken test.
Hmm,
In this particular example, it does us no harm to leave the test that I disabled, or the one assertion I disabled. It's not even an entire test. I disabled one assertion in one scenario on Windows, so it is not harmful to us. If this one needs to wait, it
okay,
can.
not a lot, not important. Okay.
Right.
Then we have repository transfer to run. We have to move that repository from Jenkins Infra to Jenkins Docs, if I understand correctly. I will need to double check as admin and perform the issue. There has been an issue opened by Uli about add a real-world job to weekly CI Jenkins IO. The goal will be to show way more build pages. Still have a lot of question on how to do that. I like team ideas of having a tar archive to one tar. So we can get the tar, run it locally, update it, and upload it again through an help desk issue. Because not only we will need a job DSL, but also we need to keep a state, a track of builds to show different states. So we need data which cannot be put in GCask. So that's why it's easier to have a tar file. Additionally, I would prefer something that is just shown, but no one can replay, because as a reminder, weekly CI Jenkins IO run in a Kubernetes container. And what is less secure than a Kubernetes container with the Jenkins controller running publicly? Nothing. So, yep, clearly I don't want any possibility, any node, we must not have any node, or we need to move weekly CI to its own virtual machine for demonstration purpose. But yes, running on a shared Kubernetes cluster is on a recipe for being hacked. It's
So
really crying, hack us, please.
so the intent here is we would prepare somewhere else the job definitions, the job history, restore
Exactly.
that so that it's visible without ever having to actually enable an agent. And if someone with permissions, Mark Waite, for instance, runs a job, that job will sit forever because no agent can or will ever be allocated.
Exactly.
Okay,
The
great.
whole idea here is like having a Docker Compose or something that you can set up locally. You
Oh,
retrieve the tar,
right.
or you run the command with the right permission that retrieve the tar, start a copy of weekly CI locally. You do whatever you want in it. You run agent, build you whatever view or setting. You stop it, and Docker Compose will export the Jenkins home, and we can update the data on the cluster.
Great. Got it. Thank you. Thanks very much. I like that. That sounds very attractive. It wasn't clear to me how we were going to achieve that.
I propose we delay Kubernetes 1.31 of 1 week. I don't think Stefan or I will have the bandwidth to work on it this week, but we should start working on it next week. Is that okay for everyone? Cool. The rest, this one and all the other will be kept delayed. Is that okay for you? We already have our handful for this week. I need to restart my brain. And Stephanie need help because being alone 1 week is a lot of work. So, yep.
I
Yes.
Any
cried a lot.
objection? Cool. Are there anything else to add? Nope. Okay, so I'm gonna stop screen sharing. I'm gonna say
Bye-bye.
goodbye to everyone and stop recording. Bye bye.